Welcome to the Worth Listening podcast, where we focus on having positive and productive conversations around money. I'm your host, Lauren, a 4-time Olympian and certified financial planner. On this show, my guests share their money stories. Everyone has a unique story and experiences both wins and losses when it comes to money. My intent is to give listeners something they can relate to, something that builds their courage to be open and take control of their own money story. When I'm not creating a great show for my listeners, I'm running my company, Worth Winning, where I help individuals and families organize their finances. Check us out at worth-winning.com. All right, now on with the show. Today's guest started thinking about college well before high school. Her strategy saved her tons of money and allowed her to have a college and a high school degree both at the age of 16. However, I know a lot of you are already out of school and many have student loans to show for it. Pretending your student loans don't exist is not going to make them go away, but there may be options to help you make your payments more affordable, and there are definitely ways to pay them off faster. And believe it or not, there's still ways to save and invest for your future while paying off your student loans. If you want to create a plan for your student loans, go to worth-winning.com for more information. Now, let me get back to the current episode with guest Amara Legget. Not only did she get a degree with no student debt, but she graduated from high school and received an associate's degree at the age of 16. You heard me right, 16 years old, high school and college graduate. Amara is now 17 and pursuing a bachelor's degree while building a business as a motivational speaker and a blogger. Today, she's going to share with us the details about how she was able to earn a degree at such a young age at almost no cost. She's also going to share ideas on how to make money from a blog, how she leveraged her TEDx talk to launch her business as a speaker, and what she plans to achieve next. This is an episode that you don't want to miss. If you have kids, make sure you have them tune into it too. Now, let's listen to Amara as she shares her money memoir with us. Amara, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
You guys are going to be shocked and amazed because I have a 17-year-old college graduate and business owner on the show today. Amara, we know that you're amazing at life, but let's just go back to the beginning and figure out how you got so amazing at life. Tell us a little bit about how you grew up, what influences you saw around you, and your first memory of money.
Great, thank you. So my first memory of money is my mom's an entrepreneur. She is a realtor. And I kind of realized that there's a different side of business and there's a different side of money. So when I attended a College Credit Plus meeting, that kind of opened my eyes to the possibilities of taking college classes for free. That was the turning point in my life where I realized that money is a big deal when you become an adult. And when I looked at the numbers of how much it costs to attend college, that was my first experience with money and how to make decisions even if you're only 14 years old. And from there, I was able to graduate high school and college at 16 years old. And now I'm a 17-year-old entrepreneur, blogger, and motivational speaker, sharing my experiences in education, but also business mindset and creating a life of success for myself.
Awesome. Can you just take us back a little bit? Being 16, sometimes our guests are, 30, 35, and there's a lot more of life to discover there or to break down. But let's go through ages 1 through 8. Where did you grow up? You said you have a mother entrepreneur. What kind of conversations were had about money in your household?
So we started talking about college in about 3rd grade. And from there, I realized that I should start thinking about what I wanted my future to look like. And I took a class in high school where it told you about what you want as your career, how many decisions you want to make when it comes to money based off of your salary. And I think those two experiences of just talking about college, but also talking about the possibilities of your future career were the first parts where I was able to make decisions about what money should mean to me now and then in the future.
I think that's really cool that something like that exists in your high school, because so frequently we hear that something we all think should be a prerequisite or there should be some education around personal finance, and there's not a whole lot. And so even though this wasn't specific to personal finance, this was thinking about a career, thinking about the salary that's associated with that career, thinking about the education to go with that career. And it all turns on kind of the money mindset into how is this going to happen for me? How is this going to be taken care of?
Definitely. It was briefly talked about. We didn't dive into it very deeply, but that helped me explore. At the time, I wanted to be a project manager. I thought being a project manager was probably one of the coolest jobs ever. And then another classmate, she presented how she wanted to be an anesthesiologist. And that was kind of a turning point also, where I realized my idea was making 50,000 to an anesthesiologist who can make 400,000. And it was just the possibilities were there, but she was the only person who had that dream.
Why do you think that was? Why do you think that she was the only one that was looking towards something like that?
I would probably say that she grew up in a better household where her parents were doing a lot of different things. She was really great at math, and I was good at education as well. But I think her parents, one of them was a doctor, and she just kind of liked having higher end things. And I think it just probably stemmed from her parents. She was really great at math, and eventually she started taking college classes in freshman year of high school because she did so well on the math portion of the placement exam. I think she just excelled in math so much. She was able to see the possibilities of an advanced education.
Ah, and so did you guys both learn about the advanced education around the same time, or was that something that you saw her do and then you wanted to learn more about it, or?
It was an offered meeting for a lot of the kids around that same time. We were all in the same grade, and it was a program that had just been released in Ohio. And I attended it, and a couple other people attended it. It was more about the parents wanting to get the kids to attend, but it was a great opportunity for not just school districts that are a little bit closer to the urban area, but also the chance for just the state to roll out this initiative and really push it forward, because it was something where you could take advantage of it while the iron was hot. And then from there, you could find your way, whether that meant you take 1 or 2 college classes every year, or that meant for me, go full time, which wasn't really talked about that much. And I think I kind of paved a way, and I eventually created a brand around just going full force with college.
That is so cool. So tell us a little bit more about how it unfolded for you. You get to 8th grade and what happened? You're preparing for high school, most people are, but you get to finish high school and college. So you decided to do this full time, and what did it actually look like from how it played out for you?
Sure. So 8th grade, I attended the meeting that talked about College Credit Plus, as it's called in Ohio, but it's nationally called dual enrollment. I attended that meeting and I realized this is a great opportunity, and I eventually moved to a different school district. And there I took about 2 classes, one at my high school and one at the local community college. And from there, when I mapped out, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I mapped out a 2-year plan of a bunch of different classes that I'd like to take, and realized that I could graduate at 16 years old from high school and college. And from there, I kind of pushed myself, but I didn't push myself too much because I loved every minute of it. I loved learning. I had a passion for education and really just bringing out the best in myself and personal growth. So I realized this year I need to take this many classes. I need to make sure I'm taking this class at the high school, but this class at the college to meet the requirements. And eventually I got to the point where after 2 years of going to college year round, even in the summer, that I walked across the college stage and received my degree, and then I was presented my high school diploma. So it was really just the plan that I put in place after I realized that the possibilities were there. And I was working really hard to make sure that could happen. I was like, I don't want to graduate at 17. I want to graduate at 16. So I did it.
Amazing. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the money that plays into this scenario. So generally, you have the option for free education. We all do nationwide to go to public school from K to 12. And then college is something that has to be paid for. So
Right.
if you're going to high school and college at the same time, how did you guys map that out from a financial standpoint?
Great question, because it was really limited. You could only take about 30 credits total with high school and college. And The blend was one of the most challenging parts about it because I wanted to make sure that all of my college was paid for, but I also was able to graduate on time. So there was one point the last semester where I had to pay a little bit extra to pay for one class because it was outside of the 30 credit limit. But other than that, everything was free, even the books. And really, all I needed to have provided was transportation. And I'm glad that my family was able to do so.
So you went to college for completely free, except for this last semester where you went over the limit and had to pay.
Yeah. And that was because I was pushing myself to graduate early. I was like, I want to graduate and I have goals to move on. So I pushed myself and I ended up paying a little bit extra for a class, but that was at a local community college. So it was very affordable.
All right. So what did you major in?
I have an associate of science degree.
All right. And what does that look like for life now? You graduated, you're 17 now, a high school graduate, a college graduate, and what does life look like now?
So currently I'm continuing on to receive my bachelor's degree in computer science. But currently, now that I'm a high school graduate, it's a little bit different because I get to pursue my business and I get to travel the country speaking to kids and adults, organizations and corporations, really about how to make the impossible possible in your life.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that the student loan crisis is something that they can't avoid, that they have to take on this debt. And you stand here as living proof that you can graduate college with no student loans. There is a system in place for people who want to pursue that. Of course, there's still, like you said, the associate's degree. It's a degree that is something that's able to be used and it's valuable, but you're going that next level to get the bachelor's degree. So how does that look? And what kind of conversations are you having with your parents about how to continue on? Because right now you're still a minor. You're not 18 and you're not 21, yet you're a graduate, you're running a business and also doing a job as a marketing intern and pursuing your bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing I'd like to note is that I graduated in the middle of my junior year, but here in Ohio, you're allowed to start as young as in 7th grade. So I think by the time people could graduate high school, they would have a master's degree if they started. For me, it was allowed, the program was rolled out freshman year of high school. So I could only start taking it freshman year of high school. And I think that part you can get even more than just an associate of science degree. I graduated because there were things going on in my life where I just wanted to move on and it would have been more difficult to continue. But it is definitely possible to save more than $20,000. And the conversations that me and my family have when it pertains to my work and school is really just juggling the two, but investing in myself and what I'd like to see in the future, whether that's 6 months down the line, all the way to 2 to 5 years. So talking about what's next for myself with building a brand and building a business, because as a speaker, for this moment, it's nice that I'm a graduate at 16. But once I turn 18, 19, the conversation changes as I'm starting to talk to, adults. It's about what's next for me, whether that means getting something else at 17, doing something amazing at 18. So it's really just keeping myself relevant and building a brand that eventually create a certain lifestyle for myself and freedom.
So from a monetary standpoint, like you said, you're running your own business. At what age did you start that business? And then are your parents actively involved in managing your funds for you? Are you educated about doing that yourself? Are you guys doing that together? Are you still getting the allowance or was there ever an allowance? Tell us more.
So I did have an allowance when I was younger, but it was only when I decided to do the chores. So I think I didn't really pay attention to it that much because I didn't have plans to spend money that much. But now my mom does manage my speaking business. And I started my business at 16. So I was a blogger and I was building a brand and really advocating for this dual enrollment program. And then it's evolved into, after I did my TEDx talk, I caught the speaking bug, a lot of people say. And now I can travel and speak. And that was a game changer for my business because it wasn't just blogging that was a part of my business. It was more speaking to kids, speaking to adults, speaking to people at that moment and impacting them. And it has since revolutionized how I plan to move forward in my business because I have more ideas of getting people at that moment, inspiring them at that moment, not if promoting them in a blog post.
Gotcha. So how does one make money off of a blog? You said you started a blog as a business. Most people just write because they want to write. So how was that a business?
So I've used my blog as a platform to make money in other ways. And I have a couple other things coming out in the next few months where it's still going to be a platform for me to make money in other ways. I have a book coming out. So the traffic that I gain from my blog, it will be a way for people to purchase. And then now I have it as a way for people to book me to speak, or I use that to promote on social media and people book me to speak through social media. But it all started with my blog. Now, for other people, if they decide to start a blog, there are tons of other ways. You can do affiliate links, which is providing the platform for people to purchase other people's products. You can do sponsorships, which sometimes that means writing a blog post about a product. Sometimes that means just doing social media posts because you have a large platform that has to do with your blog. And then other times, and I've seen in several different ways, people just use it as a platform to build their merchandise or their branding products. And that's what I've used it for.
That is amazing. Yeah, I know just a lot of people don't realize that the online businesses. So sometimes people are listening and say, oh, you millennials, you guys are always coming up with something sort of deal. But yeah, I think that sheds a lot of light on how the online business world works and the different ways that you can monetize creating content.
Right.
And then you said your mom is managing your speaking business, but from a monetary standpoint, do you get to decide how every dollar you earn is spent, or do you and her talk together about coming up with a plan? You save X percentage and you get to spend this amount, or how do you go about setting up and organizing your finances in light of the business that you're running?
It's definitely a collaborative effort. I think because she has the expertise, she's able to tell me what she recommends. Because when I get a certain amount of money, it really just depends what parts I'm going to invest back in the business and what we're going to use it for, what future projects, and if that's short-term or long-term projects. So it's definitely collaborative effort. We always talk about every penny of where it's going because that could be a project for the next month. So we plan it out about, if I'm going to do a speaking engagement next week, what that looks like for the following week, or how to make sure that the business keeps making money. We talk about it all the time, and I think we bring two different sides to the table. So
at 17, I would imagine that retirement is really far away, or a retirement in the traditional sense of being old and turning 60 some odd years and collecting pensions and things like that. But you're already running your own business. You're already in an entrepreneurial effort. You've already got a set plan. Do you have any plans for retirement, or what age, or have you talked about that sort of thing and what you're saving for?
Yeah, sure. I would say that, I feel like I don't ever want to retire because I love what I do so much. And I realize that there are a lot of people who work literally until the day that they die. And that's not a bad thing at all if you love what you do. But I think retirement means different things for different people. For some, it means stopping work. For others, means that I have enough money that if I wanted to stop, I could. So retirement, I would probably say within the next couple of years, I'd like to be able to say I could retire if I wanted to, but I'm going to keep going. So I definitely don't have plans in mind to retire because I love what I am doing and I see the possibilities for my business to grow with me and some of the other things that I have planned for my life. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you could get like one financial do-over, something that's happened financially that you'd be like, I wish I could do that differently, what would that be?
I would probably say investing in my business through social media. because as of right now, people would probably call my social media audience pretty small, but I get a lot of people reaching out to me to book me to speak or travel. And I feel like if I had a larger audience, it would probably be totally different. So I would say early on, if I would have invested in social media, that would probably be a little bit different for my business right now. But I think the organic growth, it will definitely be a case study. That's something that I can talk about later on, is I was able to grow my audience from this to what it is now, and I have since got this many deals from it. And I think even just being having organic growth and people reaching out to me in so many different forms, I really use social media and I look at it in a different way because I've been able to leverage it for my platform, even if it's a small audience.
Definitely. Was there a first big paycheck that came in when you started doing speaking and getting opportunities? And if so, was there like I want to celebrate by doing this thing, or mom, can I have this? Or was there like I got my first big payday and now I want to fill in the blank sort of thing?
Yeah. When I did my TEDx talk, soon afterwards, I booked myself for a speaking engagement. And that was my first paid speaking engagement. And afterwards, I talked about going to buy business suits. And I guess that you could say that was my treat. And I was really excited to do that because it's nice to now appreciate what I have because I worked for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to stand up on the stage and inspire people, and the fruits of my labor is starting to come in even when I started my blog over a year and a half ago. And I realized I'm not making money until a certain point, and I just realized the hard work that it takes to build a business and that I still have so many opportunities for growth because starting at 16, I had no idea of the possibilities of transforming into a speaker from being a blogger, and just extending those two and building a brand around so many different ways of bringing in income, but also bringing in ways for me to create success in my life for the future. I'm just super excited for the possibilities, but I would say I went and bought myself a couple business suits because I'm like, at that first speaking engagement, they complimented me on what I wore.
Mm.
They said, "You look really nice, and you look nice for a teenager, but you also look nice compared to some of the other people at this event." And I truly believe that it attracted a good amount of people to ask me, "Hey, I'd like to collaborate with you on this." And I since value dressing up, and I dress up every day now because people are recognizing that when you look like money, you attract money.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. First, congratulations for being 16 and seeing a first paycheck come in that you could have went and bought all sorts of different things. And the thing that rung true for you and the thing that you most wanted to purchase was a business suit, which was something that was a further investment into yourself. So yeah, to even just be thinking that wise, like, what can I do to take myself to this next level? But you bring up a really good point about the image that you create and the mindset and all of these things being a really important part of creating success. And so showing up every day and saying, I'm a professional and I'm ready to do this professional work and I want to be respected as a professional. So I'm going to govern myself as one so that other people will also, because I'm sure at 16 or 17 now, sometimes kind of say like, hey kid, or they may talk to you as if they're adult and you're a child. And I think probably creating this image helps you combat some of that. But is there instances where you're in an environment and you're hoping to be treated as an adult and people are still not aware of how to manage or how to communicate with you appropriately?
Yes, it started in college when I was dealing with college professors and some of the older students in the class. That was really an instance where even my first semester, somehow I blurted it out that I was 14 at the time. And it just kind of took a turn for the worst. And since I don't like to talk much about my age, just because people start to look down on me, and then I'm constantly having to prove myself as if I already don't do that enough.
Right.
And sometimes I have those moments where people just look at me different and I still deal with them every day. I think I just have to ignore them because they look at me that way, but they also don't compare me with if they just graduated college and I just graduated college, but because I'm 17, they have to explain things a little bit more to me, or they have to tell me what to do as if I don't already know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just have to ignore them because I realize I'm no different than anybody else, but at the same time, I'm on something different. I'm doing things differently in my life. So that's just a battle that I have to step away from.
Yeah, I like to refer to it as the one percenters,
Yeah.
There's everybody and the bell curve of what's average and everybody fitting in the middle here. And then there's those outliers, and they are the 1% that dare to be different, dare to go beyond, are really trying to make moves in life. And so when you decide to define yourself as that, I am different. I'm not just the average Joe or average Jane in our case. I am not going to be the same as the 99% other people that I bump into. And I can't hold that against them. I don't have to give myself as if I'm better than them, but
Right.
I just know that I'm different and that it is what it is. And it's not going to stop me from being, the 1%.
Yep, absolutely.
So then other members of your financial entourage, I know you mentioned your mom handling your bookings, but do you have a financial planner, an accountant, any other sorts of managers and things like that that are a part of your financial entourage?
As of right now, I have just my mom, but eventually I'm going to have to bring other people on the team just because a lot of people are reaching out in ways where we just don't know. And it's kind of picked up steam lately because, again, I've started to leverage social media and look at it in a different way, where before I may have only 16 connections on LinkedIn, but my video will go viral and people are reaching out to me. I'm leveraging it in a different way. So I'm getting a lot of people reaching out to me, and I'm definitely expanding my team because, as they say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Amen. Amen.
I'm adding a lot of people to my team. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. If you could gain one financial skill, what would it be?
It would probably be investing just in a perspective from a daily investor. So I did investment club at my high school and I almost became the leader, but I had to step back due to business and school. And I was soon to graduate and I was like, no, I kind of don't have time for this, but I loved every minute of it. And if I were ever to get a job with my computer science degree, it would probably be in the finance world because I love being able to grow your money in a legit way. Not saying that there aren't bad ways of investing, but I love the possibilities of growing your money that exceeds the inflation because it's very worrying when you realize if I save every penny and by the time I retire, the house values are drastically different than when I would have bought it when I was younger. And you see that today, like Warren Buffett, he bought his house for like I think under 40,000, and now it's worth I think over $1 million. It's just that it's kind of scary to think if I just saved every penny, it won't be worth that much later due to inflation.
Right.
But with investing, you're able to, one, be involved in business or something that you're really passionate about and being able to support them in a different way with just buying stocks, but also keeping up with your money and making sure that it protects you in the long run.
Yeah. I think it's really important to capture those ideas to understand them early because your best chance at growing your money is to start early. You start with a little bit and you save and you save and you save, and that little turns into a lot. And it's the power of the compounding interest that happens when you're investing. But the time to start is now. And so it's great that you're already thinking about that and wanting to educate yourself further about how you can further invest and make your money grow and work for you.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the hardest thing about entrepreneurship?
I would probably say the hardest thing about entrepreneurship is juggling when to invest back in yourself because sometimes you realize when you start making money, I need to pay this, I need to pay that. But then you also have to realize when I need to purchase a ticket for this event because it will teach me how to do this. When I need to purchase this book because I'm supporting a great author and I think they have a lot of great value. I think the juggle between the two is probably the hardest because you value what you get to be able to pay for things, but you also want to make sure that you're constantly growing and that you're able to support your business in a way where it's growing with you and it's growing with how fast things are, how fast people are being discovered. I think it's definitely juggling the two.
Awesome. Yeah. I think it is one of those things too. I would agree that that's one of the things I ride on the roller coaster of entrepreneurship is when do I put money into this? When do I put money into that? And which one is going to give me the biggest ROI? And knowing that there's value in both. You know, if I want to invest in a new piece of software or I want to invest, like you said, in myself and go to this conference. Or for me, for example, I'm a student loan expert and a lot of people don't have that designation. So how can I differentiate myself from other financial planners in the market?
Exactly.
There's no one doing that. So it's like, yeah, I should stop, take pause and go to this thing that's about student loans because there's so few things about it. There's so little information and it doesn't take much to separate yourself when you find something that's kind of like, this is the niche thing and there's a gap here. Let me learn everything I can about it. So yeah, investing in yourself is very important.
Definitely.
All right, Amara, we are at the end of the show. We're in the area that I like to call the final sprint. So I have some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. $20 in your pocket right now. What do you spend it on?
I would probably spend it on Facebook or Instagram ads.
I like it. I like it. Your worst money habit?
Wanting to spend it on food.
Is there a favorite food?
No, it's just food.
Just food. What's your best money habit?
Saving it and saving change. I think that's my best. It usually ends up making a lot of money later.
Awesome. Okay, finish this sentence. That awkward financial moment when?
When I juggled between going to a concert or purchasing a book that has nothing to do with my business.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, the worst advice you've ever received?
Just to save.
Best advice you've ever received?
To invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself. Something you do for fun that doesn't cost anything.
Email people.
Emailing people is fun?
It is. It is.
I love it. If you like it, you can send emails for me anytime you'd like. Emailing is not fun for me.
Well, I love sharing my story, and that's a free way that I'm able to grow my brand just by emailing someone.
Yeah. And I think it's a mindset thing. It's like, oh, this is a task for me, but you're like, there's possibility in me sending an email. So of course I love what I do and I love sending emails because there's possibility on the other end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Can you share with us one thing that you would like to improve about your personal finances in the upcoming year?
Delegating when to promote certain things that I have coming out, like a book. I want to create a plan for how much money I'm going to put towards social media ads, how much I'm going to put towards book signings, just planning out what's coming for the future and making sure that my business grows with me.
Awesome. All right. Well, we have made it to the finish line. You have sprinted there. You have won the race. You are a winner in the Worth Listening podcast world, a champion. Very, very true. Now that you're standing on the podium, can you go ahead and take a moment to shout yourself out? Tell us what projects you're working on, how we can support you, where we can find you.
So you can find me at ayounglegend.com. Don't forget the A. And I have coming next a book. I have a lot of other things, but book is the biggest. And it'll be really about diving more into my story, even the smallest stories that it changed my life. So that'll be a very big upcoming thing. And you can find that on my blog, which I share on ayounglegend.com. But you can also book me to speak there. And you can find my social media handles as well. I'm on Instagram. I have my YouTube channel and a lot more coming from a college graduate.
Awesome. Amara, thanks so much for being on the show. You truly are a young legend.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed listening to Amara's Money Memoir. Her story would be encouraging even if she weren't 14 years old when it all got started. She's a great example of what a good plan and a little perseverance can get you. She's growing a business when most kids her age are focused on high school drama. If she sticks to her plan, she may be near retirement at a point when most people her age are starting to look for jobs after college. Amara shared with us ideas on how to make money with a blog and what she's doing to grow her business as a speaker. Even though she's only 17, she faces the same struggles as any entrepreneur. I love when she mentioned that her first big purchase was business suits because she wanted to present herself in a professional way. Amara is the kind of person who uses her mindset to think all about what is possible instead of what's impossible, which brings us to our word of the day, impossible. Amara's message is on making the impossible possible in your life, and I'd like to talk to you about the word impossible. It means incapable of being or incurring. It's a word that tells us what we can't do. It's a word that holds us back from achieving greater things. It's a word that limits our mindset. People believe things like, it's impossible to save for retirement while paying my student loans, or it's impossible to go to college without even taking student loans, or it's impossible to get out of the financial hole that I'm in. Well, let me tell you, these things are possible. Very, very possible. And sometimes we just need to change our vocabulary so that it can in turn change our mindset so that we can focus on the opportunities instead of the obstacles. If you feel like you're in an impossible place with getting to your financial goals, start talking to friends, financial planners, therapists, whoever you need to talk to see what you can do to make your impossible possible. You've got to start talking about it, and you've got to start turning those words into action. Thank you for tuning in today. We hope you found this episode worth listening to. If you have financial questions, suggestions for guests, or would like to share your money memoir, please contact us through our website, worth-listening.com.